Hello, my sweet summer children. Before we get into this video, if you liked Tiger King, there is like a 75% chance that you will like the Wild Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, Jesco, Sue Bob, Mamie, and all them from Boone County.
They took her baby. She had her baby. CPS took her.
But anyway, I wanted to talk about the most messed up moments about Tiger King and some of the funniest moments and exactly how this docu-series caught the attention of the entire world and it like went viral. One of the craziest moments was Stas getting his arm bitten and amputated. Stas is transgender and was misgendered through the entire series, so that was a travesty. The craziest thing about this whole scene, it isn't the arm getting gone. It's not the arm getting bit by a tiger. That's not the craziest thing. The craziest thing is that out of nowhere, Joe Exotic pops up with like an EMT jacket on. The drip stops for no one. Like, I just imagine him having this jacket in like a glass case. It's just behind the glass, and the case just says break in case of emergency and put on. And I imagine him getting the call and breaking the glass with a sledgehammer to get the jacket and throwing it on as shards of glass just fly everywhere. Like, what the fuck? Where did he get that jacket and why did he put it on?
Oh my God. I am never gonna financially recover from this.
Not to be outdone, Joe Exotic has drip for every occasion. At the funeral, he was a priest. He was dressed as a priest. His drip has no limits.
Something else seems to come and rubbing balls in my face.
The saddest thing about like this whole docuseries though is the actual tigers and cats and the animals. Like, I'm not an expert on catology or zoology or none of those ologies. But damn, I think it's messed up to keep those cats caged up like that. I also think that it's messed up that they were breeding them cats and taking their cubs away from them. When that mama tiger was giving birth and they just like dragged her cub away with like a stick and took it from her, my soul left my body. Like, it's heartbreaking. Now, I know none of us like Carole Baskin, but let me be clear a little bit. I think even though she is a horrible person and a hypocrite that does indeed use cats for profit and she likely killed her husband, her cages really aren't that small. Like, they're really not that small. Her cages are fucking huge, to be honest. Her cages are pretty big. I saw a video on Facebook that was posted a while back and the enclosure was massive. So it appears that these small cages that we see are like feeding mechanisms or something like that. Still, she's whack though, and she killed her husband. Guys, know if you didn't see the video, click the video up there. I've had people like reaching out to me. This lady has a lot of enemies. I've had people reaching out to me like from everywhere, giving me documents, all kinds of files on this lady, and I'm going to be compiling it all into a video soon. But I would say that Carole's cattery, of course, Carole's a millionaire and she's like doing all this animal activism and raising all this money. Of course, her shit is way better than Joe Exotic's. Joe Exotic's zoo was kind of shitty. Like, it was kind of poo-poo. And he really couldn't afford to feed all these animals. Like, he was giving them expired meat, and then sometimes he couldn't afford to feed them at all, and we saw that in this documentary. He was clearly in over his head. Now, Doc Antle, we didn't really see much of his tiger farm, but I think most of these people started their obsession with big cats and animals with good intentions. Well, I think from watching some of Joe Exotic's YouTube videos that he does actually care about his animals in the best way that he can. I think it started that way. But money. Money can corrupt the best people and the people with the best intentions. Like, what is, it's a saying, the highway to hell was paved with good intention. But the worst owner of tigers and exotics is Jeff. You cannot tell me that this man, Jeff Lowe, gives one single fuck about the preservation of tigers. He doesn't. He came into this situation as an angel investor, not for the love of animals. I don't trust him at all. He has a do-rag on and he's bald. Like, he reeks of desperate money scheming scoundrel that wears South Pole and Fat Farm in 2020. He currently owns Joe Exotic's zoo, and him and his girlfriend are posting TikToks of themselves with tiger cubs like they aren't some of the most hated people in the world. Like, seriously, they have TikToks. They have TikToks. And Doc Anno's son has a TikTok where he's like all around the tigers. And to be honest, it looks like those tigers, chimps, cubs, lions, leopards, they all look cared for and taken good care of. And they seem to have way more enrichment than Big Cat Rescue with their paw print paintings that tigers can paint if they want, girl. I don't know, guys. The tiger part of this docuseries really like hits me in the gut. Like, I just don't think they should be caged up and exploited like that. I don't know, I just see these tigers in these small enclosures no different than like SeaWorld and other places having whales in swimming pools that are equivalent to fish bowls. Like, it's inhumane and it shouldn't be allowed. It's sad. And now I just need a drink. I just need a drink because I watched Free Willy and cried through that entire thing. And then on top of like all this tiger mistreatment, and I saw Blackfish the other day, and I've had all I can take with animals being exploited and mistreated. So yeah, among the Carole Baskin drama and every other train wreck in the documentary, I feel really bad for the tigers. Like, I really, and all the animals, like I really do. Another really sad thing about Tiger King is it isn't just the cats that appeared to be being exploited. These cats were being used to exploit people. So Doc Antle seems like a nice bloke or whatever. He seems to be educated. And in the documentary, it seems like Doc Antle is only going to show us what he wants us to see. He is the director of his scenes in this documentary, period. He is. The way he was directing the directors or the film producers of this documentary, it reeks of, I'm in charge here, my lord. I've got things to hide and you're gonna only film what I want you to, okay? Is that enough? You got it? Do we need to do it again? But he also seems to have like a harem of women, like a cult. Women come there, get paid almost nothing unless you count the boob job. They have to change their names. They have to have sex with him and call him Lord. They are all like his sister wives. The one girl said that they have to sleep with him, and I think it's weird. And I like weird. Like, normal things a lot of times scare me, but this is more than weird. This is a predatory. Like, take R. Kelly, make him less attractive, make him white, add tigers and an elephant, and you have Doc Antle. If it's true that he raises cubs and puts them in a gas chamber once they are past the profitable stage, then he needs to go to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly to jail. Now, this is what Joe is claiming. Now, from what I've seen on their TikTok or on his son's TikTok, they take really good care of the tigers there. And like on Halloween, they chase pumpkins and stuff. Like, they roll pumpkins around and they have a lot of contact with humans. And I don't know. I hope and pray that this man is not doing that. But he sucks because he's exploiting women. Anyway, Joe Exotic, on the other hand, he kind of sucks a little bit too. He also exploited his husbands. Now, I know what you're going to say. I have debated this with like my male friends and they swear I don't know what I'm talking about. So we have 2 straight men that married a man, but they both say that they aren't gay. Now, I don't know if this is possible. It's not really my business. So the thing was said to me like they were using each other. But I will say, if you think a millionaire, because let's be clear, Joe Exotic was a millionaire, is a millionaire. If you think a young man that doesn't have anything can't be preyed on by a millionaire, then you're misinformed. When you're young, you really don't have any idea exactly who you are or what you want, and it's easy to be exploited by an older person that's rich with tigers, like especially if you're poor. Travis is fresh out of high school. He's also on drugs, and this man comes along that buys him anything he wants and supplies his habit. He's not even in a position to decline it. To me, it's predator type behavior, like, and it's really sad. I think Joe Exotic did actually love this man, or the idea of this man, and I think he was messed up about his death. But he did marry again not even 2 months later. But the worst part was the speech at the funeral and Joe singing and carrying on. It was just a mess and uncalled for. If that was my family, I would have wrecked that entire scene for real. Like, I would have wrecked it. It would have been a mess because it couldn't really get much worse. So I might, like, the Golden Nugget Ball Boy stuff. I mean, it's crazy and it's funny, and Joe's a performer, but like, show some respect to this man's family. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to more crazy moments. One of the craziest moments for me was that Joe Exotic was actually a good singer, but then I quickly realized he's not singing. He's Milli Vanilli. He's lip syncing. But when that country ballad diss track dropped, it was amazing. I actually like Here Kitty Kitty, and the one that's like, woke up this morning with the sunrise in my eyes. I can't sing, but how can you not like that? Like, it's a whole vibe. Like, listen to it. Anyway, the 2 craziest moments to me were Carole Baskins likely killing her husband and Joe Exotic actually going down for murder for hire plot on Carole. You know why this is so crazy to me? Let's look at these 2 cases side by side and follow me, because I'm going to make a point here. We'll make a point of just how crazy this is and how much sense this doesn't make. So we have Carole versus Joe. And then we have Don versus Carole. So Joe says he's going to kill Carole every day. He posts her house on public forums. He does not hide his disdain for Carole. He's very vocal about it. Very vocal about it. Says it all the time. When it comes to Carole, she doesn't really talk about Don going missing. She hasn't looked for him. She didn't have a memorial for him, nor a funeral. Every cat that has ever died in her care has a plaque. A plaque. But the founder doesn't. The founder does not have a plaque. Her murdered husband does not have a plaque. When Joe's husband died, what did Joe do? He built a big ass memorial in a zoo. What does Carole do when her husband dies? Nothing. He blacked out, she said. Does a killer actively say they are going to kill someone? Or do they act like nothing is wrong and forge legal documents? Let's look at motives between the 2. Okay, so Joe doesn't like Carole. If he wanted to kill her, wouldn't he kill her before she sent him to the broke house? Is he just obsessed with her so much that he wants to kill her and there is no benefit for him if Carole dies? Now, in the Carole and Don situation, Carole solely benefits from the death of Don Lewis. She inherits millions, and she forged documents to ensure that she would inherit said millions. Okay, now where do these cases differ? This is where the cases differ. Joe isn't smart. He talks a lot of shit. But these cases differ because of these 3 men. Jeff, Alan, and James. Now, the FBI tried through James to set Joe up. They offered him Carole's head on a golden platter, and all Joe had to do was to pay them the money so they could arrest him. But he didn't pay because he really didn't want that lady dead. So they backed off. They said, we can't prosecute him because he never paid us. But then, out of nowhere, here comes Jeff. Jeff is like, well, he paid Alan. And the ball starts rolling from there. 3 people who actively don't like Joe. Jeff benefits from Joe being locked up. Alan is Jeff's yes man. Alan hates Joe. James don't like Joe. Alan lies on the stand, perjured himself. The prosecution never even calls Jeff to the stand because he's so shady. They can't risk losing. The point is, there is more evidence that Carol killed her husband than Joe Exotic had a murder for hire plot with a crackhead and a pervert zoo stealer. Like, it's not even funny. And the difference is 3 witnesses. Very bad, not credible witnesses. But as far as physical evidence, there's like some text messages or something that say everything that Joe said all the time anyway. There is no actual traceable transaction. Who in the world gives a drug addict $3,000 to go kill someone? If you give a crackhead $3,000, they're gonna go get high out of their mind for a week. And that's the extent of it. But whatever. Now, the craziest moment in all of this, everything, is that President Trump, while speaking on his weekly health task force, he said he's looking into Joe Exotic. And I think it's like an 85% chance that he gets pardoned. But what do you think? As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone that supports me on Patreon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and join the Sweet Summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.